Jamaica. Make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orvin Higgins and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yeah.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
The debates have finally been settled. The Jamaica Debates Commission announced 3 debates ahead of the general election scheduled for September 3. Well, the debates, which will be held on August 23, 26 and 28, will focus on social issues, the economy, and culminate, of course, with the leadership debate. There's much talk, however, around the revised format, as for the first time, there will be group or team debates for the first 2. And this evening, Lead Story takes a closer look at issues to be discussed, the efficacy of this new format and expectations. Lead Story begins right now. Welcome to Lead Story. I'm Nika Lewis. The national election debates is our focus this evening, and we have assembled quite a panel to offer insightful analysis. Well, we have a few people on board, but the one in studio with me right now is Ronald Dino McLean. He's a member of the Jamaica Association for Debating and Empowerment, aka JADE. Welcome, Mr. McLean.
Thank you so much for having me.
Indeed. We are going to be joined a little later on by Christoph, and that is Christoph Simpson, who is joining us via Zoom. I'm seeing him up. He is the first Secretary of Jamaica Lands. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Christoph, and thank you again, Mr. McLean. Before we get into the discussion, of course, we have a package planned for you by Raymond Morrison ahead of time.
The anticipation of the national debates was overshadowed Tuesday as representatives from the JLP and PNP locked horns over the questions of who gets to ask the questions.
We are not ashamed of our objections. We stated our reasons for the objections. We objected to 3 people. The JLP objected to 4. My objections were independent of the JLP objections. They were not attached. The JLP attempted to get us to negotiate settling between the lists. I categorically said no. The Jamaica Debates Commission reserved the right to take all decisions regarding their product.
But GLP representative Delroy Williams pushed back, claiming the PNP had gone as far as to threatening a boycott of debate based on one journalist.
Yes, they took the decision that it would be the JDC's decision to choose moderators and questioners. The issue the JLP had was that the People's National Party was saying that it would not participate in any debate that a particular, I ask you 5 times, the People's National Party's position was very clear to me that they would not participate in a debate that a particular journalist would. So whether as a moderator or a questioner, that was the People's National Party's position.
The comment ignited a sharp statement from Campbell.
Perhaps the JLP didn't want us to say it publicly, but the People's National Party felt and strongly felt that we had to hold the JLP's hand to the fire to get them around the table to agree on the Jamaica debates for 2025.
And with tensions flaring, it took the intervention of JDC Chairman Brian Schmidt to restore order.
This has been a vexing issue in the public space. And as I said, the JDC, what we are doing is we are moving forward. We would like to move past this.
The chairman then went on to offer insights on how the panel of journalists were selected.
We try and look on the talent that is available. And then from the talent that we know is available, we create a pool. And we say, okay, based on this pool, there are people who are suitable and could handle very well the particular debates. And from that pool, we make a determination of the people who we will actually use. Not because we have come up with a list of journalists means that they're obligated to perform at the debate.
And while the conversation lingers about who asks what questions and why, the first debate is just days away. The Commission insists that it's focused on one goal, making sure Jamaicans hear from their leaders on the issues that matter. All eyes now turn to August 23. Raymond Morrison, CVM News.
Thank you, Raymond. That package prepared for us ahead of time about the national debates and changes and developments. But we'll talk a little bit more about that with our guests right after the break.
These days, challenges are everywhere and things are constantly changing, but independent living remains the same. Rising above physical challenges, we can help you do it. For years, we have been Jamaica's trusted provider for solutions to improve patient care, safety, and general quality of life. No matter your age or your physical limitation, we are the caring store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living.
At Hawkeye, we work hard to develop state-of-the-art security solutions like our new Total Connect smart home automation system that gives you 24/7 access to control your appliances, lights, cameras, and doors using your smartphone, tablet, or PC. As the most trusted electronic security company in Jamaica, Hawkeye has the fastest response times to get to you when you need us most. Trust Hawkeye's Total Connect. Hawkeye, securing what matters most.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Good evening and welcome back to Lead Story. I'm Nika Lewis. We are talking about the Jamaica debates that are lined up for later on this month. And we have in studio Mr. Ronaldino McLean. He's a member of Jamaica Association for Debating and Empowerment. the longer format. The short format is Jade. We also have online Mr. Christoph Simpson, and he is the chairman and first secretary of Jamaica Lands. So the conversation begins about so many changes that have been seen regarding the national debates that are anticipated when the 23rd, the 26th, and the 28th of August. Firstly, Mr. Simpson, you taking a more leftist approach to politics and all of these things, what did you make of these changes?
I don't think there's anything to know what the changes is not unheard.
Okay, we're not really hearing much clearly from Mr. Simpson, so we're going to throw that question to you, Mr. McLean.
Yeah, so the two big changes that the JDC implemented were to remove the usual opening statements that teams would give. Yes. They usually give opening statements in addition to closing statements. Now they'll just give closing statements, and that should allow for more questioning and answering from questioners, journalists involved. I think that's good. I mean, I never really saw the point of having both opening and closing statements where teams get to kind of reiterate the messaging, the national messaging that they would have been making on the campaign trail anyways. And I'm always in support of more time for allowing critical issues to be ventilated in challenging ways. As for the second change implemented to, turn the debate on the economy into a team debate rather than a mere one-on-one between finance minister and spokesperson on finance traditionally. I also support that move. The economy is a broad area with lots of facets, not just dealing with national finance, and independently of the reasons given by the head of the JDC, Mr. Schmidt, that was in response to public sentiment, public polling on the issue, revealing that team debates are more widely supported and the previous economic debates were the least interesting for viewers. And independent of the PNP's suggestion that the change was made to facilitate Minister of Finance Favour Williams, who they would see as a weaker public speaker perhaps than their own Julian Robinson, both could very well be true, but independently of both those reasons, I think that a team format allows for a more comprehensive, a broader ventilation of economic issues that don't just deal with national finance.
Understood. Well, we want to take a look at the teams as they're now being shown on screen. You'll see that among the members, we have social issues being debated on the JLP's side by Minister Pernell Charles Jr., Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, and Minister with responsibility for water, Matthew Samuda. While on the People's National Party's side, we know Firebrand and Senator Damian Crawford. He speaks strongly. He is a shadow spokesperson on education. We have a lawyer, Sophia Fraser-Binns, and she's also the spokesperson on the environment, housing, I believe, and water. And we also have Mr. Raymond Price. I know he's very passionate about so many things regarding climate change and those matters. So I believe he speaks widely as well on other topics. For the economy, you're seeing on the JLP's side, the finance minister, naturally, whether you think that she's not going to be as bright. But so she is Favour Williams. She is brilliant to many people in Jamaica. She's one of the first people on Wall Street with Jamaican colors. So she's a bright person, naturally. But if you don't like how she debates, that's up to you. So Favour Williams, Dr. Christopher Tufton from Health, and he's also the JLP campaign head. And you have Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon. She is education, youth, and information. And she also can hold her own when it comes to matters pertaining to several other areas. Well, the PNP side, we have the shadow spokesperson on Finance and Planning. That's Julian Robinson, and he doesn't mince words. When the time comes, you don't want to pull on him too hard. You might get something. Keisha Anderson, I'm not too familiar with her, but I'm sure she can hold her own. And Peter Bunting, Keisha is actually the party treasurer, I'm understanding, and Senator Peter Bunting, he's a firebrand all on his own, a former national security minister as well. So we take a break and we'll come back with more interactions right after these.
Jamaica is paving the way to becoming a republic, or future or choice. The time by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs is
6:45. We're here to tell you about the never-before-seen competition airing on Lewis Industrial's YouTube channel.
That's right. That's LIG's Master Mechanic competition, where 6 teams will compete for a cash prize of 500,000 Jamaican dollars and the title of LIG's Master Mechanic. Subscribe to Lewis Industrial on YouTube and catch each episode every Saturday at 8 p.m.
The first episode drops in August.
So don't try to miss it. You hear?
BCIC is giving up to $5 million in free content insurance.
We've developed a free online calculator. So anybody in Jamaica, any homeowner can go on to BCIC online. You don't even have to be a BCIC customer, and it will give you a building value.
When you update your home's rebuilding cost with our online calculator, you'll get $5 million in free content insurance and up to 12 months to pay your premium.
If you're not insured, go get it now. Better to be safe than sorry.
We want a piece for Jamaica. Yeah. Yo, what are you?
Oh man, none of that. No, brother, no, man.
You see you ever play ref? No big game,
no play. Yeah, but I look a bad game. No, I said, place you come from, brother. I want to live good, man. I want to live good, brethren. No shake hand, I can play a little bad, brethren.
Really have to shake hand?
Yeah, man, and no badness, brethren. Just live good, man.
That's it. Come together as one and make the violence done.
Welcome back to Lead Story. We are talking about the Jamaica Debates Commission and those changes we've spoken about earlier, but more importantly, the national debates, especially when it comes to social issues, finance, and the leadership debate, something many of you are at home anticipating. So, of course, I have joining me in studio because we just lost Christoph Simpson, so now I am only down to Ronaldo McLean, but a great contender nonetheless. He's a member of the Jamaica Association for Debating and Empowerment, JADE. Welcome back, Mr. McLean. We saw, before we went to the break, those teams, the breakdown for the social issues debate, the economy debate, and the leadership debate. We naturally know who those are. But for the team debates, what did you make of the teams that we've seen? First, social, and then we go to the economy.
Right. So just generally taking both, actually, I think there are strong teams on both sides. One interesting observation I made is that there are lots of younger, fresher faces. The party seemed almost to be positioning their future leadership, presenting them to the public in these electoral debates. On the social side, I think we have really, really, really strong, articulate candidates. Firebrands, like you said, like Damian Crawford and Raymond Price on the People's National Party side. Raymond Crawford.
Raymond Price?
Sorry, Raymond Price. Raymond Price of both the PNP teams, actually, I think is the only member of either their economic debate team or their social issues debate team that has done this before, that has participated in one of these JDC electoral debates, and he's done so well, in my view. Very articulate speaker, good grasp of the issues. On the JLP side, they went for 3 ministers with good coverage of many of the topics that will necessarily have to be covered, talking about labor and social security, Pernell Charles Jr. and water with Matthew Samuda, and also Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, who heads up their Achievements and Manifesto Committee, also has a wide grasp of lots of different issues as she would have to as leader of government business in the Senate.
I want to bring in Mr. Simpson because he's back. Welcome back, Mr. Simpson from Jamaica Lands.
Right. Do you want me to talk on the change to the group, the team structure overall, right?
Repeat that question, please, Mr. Simpson.
You want me to talk on the team structure overall and the changes?
Yes,
to
we would
team
love
structure?
that because we didn't hear your thoughts on the changes firstly, and then we'd want to talk about the teams we've seen so far.
Well, on the change in general, a change from focusing on individuals to a team, I think is more appropriate. It's not something totally new. We had something similar to that, if I remember correctly, leading up to the local government elections. And also, these are political parties that we have really competing. It's not that we elected a particular candidate to serve in a particular role. We're electing MP candidates, and the MP candidates are in their respective parties that want to form the next government. So we should be able to hear from more than one. On this idea that you might have somebody strong in this but weak in this, that is how we usually have a team set up and how you have a party set up. You have people with different strengths and weaknesses. You might have somebody better able to answer certain questions than others. You're not going to have one person that is the master of everything necessarily. So there's no issue with the change to a team structure. Regarding the specific persons on these teams, I prefer to reserve any comments on that at this time.
Right. Are there any particular issues, before I come back in studio, are there any particular issues you're anticipating that will take front and center at these debates?
Not really. Our position, we don't really see a difference between the two major parties. Whichever party is in power tends to preach a certain way, and whichever party is in opposition tends to just be opposed to that. And they might come with some flashy last-minute stuff, but as far as we're concerned, whichever party is in power is going to do the same thing, more or less. We don't see much difference between the two parties. And on a general economic debate or a general social issues debate, we're not expecting much difference between the parties, except some minor things that they might try to magnify, or maybe how they would do things as opposed to what they would do.
I want to tackle you a little bit there because I want to know, therefore, if you perceive that these debates are therefore not important, unimportant, not necessarily impacting the voters' choice, and if it will mean anything at all to people who are inclined to your thoughts.
Well, it's not that they're unimportant. It's important for the people to know where the candidates actually stand and how they articulate themselves and to see their faces. The problem I'm speaking more to is just a lack of ideological difference between the parties. These debates should go on. Maybe they should even be broadened beyond, say, these general scopes. But then we have the questions that will be asked. We have specific questions that will be asked by the journalists. Questions will be fielded. So we'll see how they respond to those. We're just hoping that they'd actually focus more on policy. But beyond focusing on policy, what follow-up is there? What mechanism allows the people to follow up? As we have said before, democracy can't just be about elections. You don't just vote on election day and it ends there. If we're going to talk about democracy, this type of debate, this type of questioning of people shouldn't only happen around election time. This is supposed to be something that happens. You're supposed to be having town halls nationwide where we're having MPs actually answering questions from the constituents about what is happening in Parliament, inviting cabinet members to come and be accountable to the people. That's kind of what we need. So it's not that these are unimportant. It's more like this debate at this stage, don't think it goes far enough. But it's better than nothing. And in the context of an election coming up, it makes sense to have them.
All right. So, Mr. McLean, do you agree with what Mr. Simpson has just shared? You know, do you believe, as you appear to be among the younger voting population, that these debates are in any way important and if they are likely to sway any segment of the population?
Yeah, well, you and Christoph just talked about two things on whether there's ideological difference between the parties and whether the debates have any kind of electoral impact. And so I'll just separate those two questions. On the question of electoral impact, I've participated in focus group sessions following some of these JDC debates before, at least last year when we had the local government JDC debates. And when you talk to people, young people, middle-aged people, I particularly talked to young people last year after those debates, they didn't really seem to move the needle much in the sense that lots of people had already made up their mind and no kind of radical, impactful promise or policy proposal would have been made in those debates to seriously shake their minds, at least not after we've already had time to look through both parties' manifestos. And so, in a way, some of these debates can kind of be seen as, you know, both parties showing up and trying not to make any serious misstep, any serious blunder that would affect them negatively, rather than gaining any kind of serious positive electoral advantage. On the question of ideological difference between the parties, I'm not sure I would comment much on that, except to say that from a debating standpoint, one of the big things that you look for in what makes a healthy debate is good clash. And when we say clash, we don't mean sound clash. What we mean is substantive, direct, and clear disagreements or differences between two sides. And so what you look for is both engagement as well as divergence or disagreement. Yes. And so it's not a healthy debate if both sides are talking past each other, which is to say one is addressing a particular issue and then the response simply ignores the points made on the other side. And it's also just not a healthy debate if both sides are saying the exact same thing, you know. Indeed. You know, we will change Jamaica for the better, let's say. But what does make a healthy debate is if contentions are there that create competing visions, and even if not competing visions, contrasting methods, contrasting means of how we get to the same vision or the same end goal.
Thank you. Mr. Simpson, I want to take you in for the final few seconds of our discussion. Final few seconds of the discussion.
On the same page as Ronaldinho on some of the things said there. What we have seen in the past is that you have the parties basically saying what they want to say. They're not really engaging each other. Or if they do, they're firing shots at each other in terms of just talking about things of the past. They're not really engaging, say, this party wants to do this. Okay, the other party's response should be to counter that or to criticize that specifically, but that's not really what we've had. There's just a lot of carryover from the past and, oh, but this happened in this time, and our experience with debate